like the Gwen here if he gets locked in, and it does. I think he did fantastic. And also, you sort of mitigate a lot of the dives that are coming your way, especially with Volibear, where you can deactivate the towers. You just move into your bubble, you take it away from whatever damage is coming your way, and you're trying to evade it that way. And also, I feel it's like so pivotal that you have the Nocturne right here, because Volibear wants to pull off a lot of these dives together with the Rakan. With the lights out, you don't know how many people are coming your way.
And it's interesting to see the development of draft throughout the series. Like Game 3 was just top lane tanks. We're going to play around scaling on the side of KC. Here, once again, they do have quite a lot of scaling with the Victor, with the Ezreal. That's going to be quite strong as the team fights go on. But do you see Vitality.B having the opportunities to shut KARMINE Corp down before they get there?
100%. And I think the main issue for me right now is all the frontliners from this side of K-Corp. They're only pseudo frontliners. You don't have that beefy Sion that you had in the last game. So yes, Seiken can get ahead now, maybe even Rekkles on the Ezreal. But the amount of backline dive you have now from Vitality, there's not that much peel as well. Yes, you have some few stunts to come through from Rakan and Volibear, but they're so easily persuaded, and they can be one-shot as well.
Yeah, it's do or die for KARMINE Corp as they are one game away from being eliminated. Vitality.B, one game away from making it into the finals against LDLC. Munch and the team and the squad and the dudes and the cool kids, take it away.
The cool kid.
The cool kid? I mean, you guys, I don't know, is cool kids really the right phrase? I don't know. Well, look, I didn't mean it, Ox. I'm sorry, buddy. Look,
Duocast?
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, yeah, welcome back to game number 4 coming in for KARMINE Corp and Vitality.B. I'm Dagda, this is Ox, this is Munch, who's decided to join us again.
Yeah, I would have committed to taking it off, but it's clipped to the back of my shirt, so I couldn't actually get the heads off. We're going into game number 4 here in our semi-finals of the Amazon EU Masters. It's an all-LFL semi-final. If you've been living under a rock, it was 2-0 to Vitality.B until game 3, where K-Corp finally showed up and showed us what they were made of. And now the draft continues to develop as Vitality.B back on the red side once more.
And it feels like for me, KARMINE Corp need to hit the ground running in this game, specifically around that top side. It feels like if you're not getting these early dives off with Cabochard, maybe with some help from Seiken roaming up towards the top side, this Renekton pick is just going to get completely outscaled by what Vitality.B are bringing to the table.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like even by level 6, I think that's where things become really difficult, because the Nocturnal is now available, so your aggression gets shut down by the fact that skins can just turn up. Bot lane becomes problematic when you get the Chains of Corruption and the Solar Flare from the Leona. Really easy to find, lockdown, and engage, especially as Rekkless is still refusing to take cleanse no matter what. And I feel ultimately, KARMINE Corp, you know, the only major scaling element I feel they have is the Victor, but he is going to have such a hard time in this game up against what Vitality.B has, so I need to see them have that early momentum.
Yeah, and again, you're going to be keeping your eyes on 113. Does have at least the advantage in the matchup in the early stages. Nocturne traditionally wants to try and farm until level 6 as quickly as possible, get that access to the Paranoia, so having a bit more breathing room for this Volibear could be great, but
already an all-in the bottom side. Rekkless forced to flash and heal. There's a couple more autos will come through. I don't think a kill can come out of this one, but Vitality.B consistently dominating in the 2v2.
Yeah, and you're so happy with that trade, right? Because it's a Leona who has Hex Flash, so you're not as concerned about burning your flash early. Of course, Rekkless does get the Arcane Shift at level 2, but he constantly has to be on edge.
And I love the early ward from Jeskla as well, because Rekkless...
Another stun, a flash forward, and Jeskla looking for first blood against his old inspiration.
Beautiful play from the Vitality.B bot lane. Jeskla with the flash over, and Rekkless once again stepping too far forward in lane, and Vitality.B punish.
And this is the problem, right? Rakan, if you W in, it's so telegraphed, so slow, an aggressive lane can easily flash over it, and so you don't offer much level 1, and it's an Ezreal as well. Really just does not able to survive before he hits that level 2 and gets the Arcane Shift.
And really nice job from Jack Troll there. Hides in the bush, no vision from KARMINE Corp, and Rekkless just takes that step too far. Even the ward in that Tri-Brush as well, to spot if Volibear was going to try and make some kind of level 2 gank, and super well orchestrated by the Vitality.B bot lane.
Absolutely beautiful, and Rekkless goes to this Ezreal. It's something he's played countless times over the years. He's played everything countless times over the years, but getting caught out in the laning phase when Ezreal is at his weakest. And just getting caught out by Jack Troll, who's been really aggressive in the 2v2, and Jeskla happy to flash forward and put his foot down.
It feels though like we're not seeing KARMINE Corp really set up for those early plays though. Like you're seeing Seiken push it mid. He would have the potential here to roam up topside, play off the big wave. Cabochard is stacking with 113 on topside, but they're not going for it. And even Skeens is kind of perplexed by this because he's here to cover.
He certainly is, and Cabochard gonna have to dash over the wall. Will survive at least, keeps himself safe on this one, but So far, so good for the side of Vitality.B with a small gold lead. But I'm looking at Seiken once again. He's on this Victor. Can he set up the same situation against the Sylas, though?
I think the problem is, I mean, even if the lane goes well, you're just going to have a much harder time as the game goes on. I feel like, you know, we talked about how the flank potential was trying to be found in game 1, and there was a bit of a struggle for Vitality.B. Nocturne's just like the cheat code, right? You just make it so easy to find flanks. We talked about how vision control is super important for defending against flanks. The Nocturne also just turns that off. It just makes it very hard to play against. So even if Seiken does get fed, there's no guarantee he'll be able to survive.
And it's not only just skins, right? Diplex has access to a ton of ultimates to make diving really successful. You look at the quickness, you look at the Volibear ult, you look at the Renekton ult. These are all tools that are so good for a Sylas that wants to get in on the backline.
Yeah, a lot of the ults are really good for Sylas, the ones that increases durability. Things that give him health, like Swain ultimate, Volibear and Renekton ultimate both give health. They make him really bulky, but they still add the extra damage, so you can't just burst through him. So a lot of great choices, and as you said, the quickness as well just means you have so much more disruption.
I feel like we should talk about these top laners a little bit as well, because Kabashard going with the Renekton, which I think is a controversial pick in the League of Legends community. But when you look at the difference in experience between these players, obviously Kabashard outstripping Shigenda. I should really struggle with his name. I don't know what it is. In terms of that sheer experience, got a bit of an invade from Jesco and Jack Troll. I'm going to cut my thought off because the AD carry and support are invading onto 1-1-3 here. Now moving mid lane to punish Seiken as well. This is some creative bot laning from Jesco and Jack Troll.
I mean, just trying to see if they can make the most work. But look, Jesco and Jack Troll, they haven't quite been able to find the CS lead, as you were saying. 34 CS there for Rekklles, and even with that early kill going across, at least you're seeing Rekklles and Hantera kind of riding the shift a little bit with the way that this early lane has gone post that kill.
I think, you know, as of now, the fact that even at gold, nothing's really happened for 1-1-3. At level 6, he's going to get that spike, right? Obviously, you can orchestrate dives quite easily with it. But I just feel like the tools Vitality.B get are more significant. Especially if they want to make a play on the bot side when they have all the setup. If they want to go for a dragon as well, they have everything available. Skins is resetting. Well, actually, he's going to stop that.
We're going to have a 2v2 on the top side. Shigenda, low on HP, or low on mana, sorry, on this one. Does have one last stack of needlework, but with both junglers here, you expect this to be deterred ultimately. And, or maybe not.
But these are the plays I need to see with Seiken. Seiken now roaming up, but the wave will probably be dead by the time he gets there. We'll have to see.
Tara not winning out that trade, but actually Ignite going to be dropped onto Jack Troll. Shigenda pushed away, separated from his jungler, and his Skeens defending the tower, clearing the waves. Diplex moves over as well as Seiken. We've got a 3v3 on our hands, but Shigenda's so low on HP and mana. I don't feel like it's a very even fight.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that Shigenda doesn't have his ultimate available, they don't really want to go for that, but Skeens might actually be in trouble here.
I've never seen a jungler solo dived in the top side before, but with his solo lanes here as well, perhaps Seiken could be the target instead. Gonna get a lot of damage down. Stunned though, Diplex can't move, and he's cut down, bitten into by 1-1-3.
He needed to ult way sooner off the back of that. Had the Volibear ult, does give the damage, but also gives you health, gives you the ability to escape away from the stun because he can't be CC'd, and unfortunately for Diplex, even with the flash, ends up giving across his life.
Yeah, you can definitely see he felt a bit tentative. He was just going for a short trade, but as soon as he got stunned, you could see KORP just fully committed. Both flashes burned from Kabashard and 1-1-3 to ensure the CC layering.
And it was these early mistakes in Game 3 that brought KARMINE Corp to their big advantage. Right? Seiken specifically was the one that was having help from Hantera, having help from 1-1-3, that got this Victor to be the monster that it was, and we're kind of seeing these little mistakes once more from Diplex, giving those kills across the KARMINE Corp.
You can see the CS numbers, right? 20 CS lead now for Kabashard off that play. Pretty solid CS lead for Seiken in the mid lane as well, as he made sure he had prio before moving. And the Rekklles as well, despite the fact he died in the early levels, able to build up this substantial lead over Jesco. So this is kind of the KARMINE Corp that we expected, that we've seen in the tournament, where they just win all their lanes.
I don't know why it took them 2 games to get to this form, but they are looking good now that we're into game 3 and 4. Feels like KARMINE Corp are back on form again. And that's a scary thought for Vitality.B because they would love to make it to the finals. They'd love to prove themselves. Feels like maybe KARMINE CORP will deny it.
And I think we'll have to start looking at schemes to see if he can right this wrong, right? He's got the level 6 that's been hit now, has access to the paranoia, but when you look at where KARMINE CORP are positioned on the map for this Rift Herald, it doesn't feel like you've really got the tools here as Vitality.B to fight for this objective. Although, as I say that, REKKLES still in the spot side, and Jessica considering going towards the Rift Herald, but will now match the push in the bottom lane.
So REKKLES going to try and go for that tower, but as you said, Jessica will answer. And that means we could have a 4v4 on the top side. And I'm going to be honest, looking across items, looking across who has the gold, feels like KC right now a little bit stronger.
Yeah, especially when you look at Diplex, right? No access to an ultimate as of yet because he stole that volley barrel ult. It's going to take a while for that one to come back up. So you don't have real pressure in the mid lane. You don't really have any big source of damage for this fight. So, I mean, you're better off here as Vitality.B looking to see if you can go for a cross map, especially if you can shove mid with Jack Troll and Skeens. Maybe look for a dive up bot, maybe look for a dragon for yourselves while KARMINE CORP are committed to this top side.
And this is the thing, right? Renekton, his items got nerfed, so he no longer holds up as well on like the 2-item spike compared to when he had Gordrink, Hysterics being super strong. But he is still so good in this early Herald fight, right? So much power with that ultimate. Don't really want to tango. They will take the dragon on the other side, though, so it's definitely, you know, balancing things out, and Jessica getting to farm a bit in the bot lane. So it's not horrific, and I think Vitality.B made the right call ultimately not to fight the Herald.
Even getting the reset here for Diplex as well means that now he can match the lost chapter. So he's going to have a little bit of an easier time in this mid lane. So overall, I think Vitality.B playing it smart and kind of playing towards what their win conditions are, right? We talked about how they want to try and play off of like Jeskla hitting his 2 items, Diplex as well, getting access to the Severfrost and maybe a Shadow Flame. Like, this is where you're kind of looking for Vitality.B to see if they can fight against KARMINE CORP and look for that backline access, particularly onto vulnerable members like Seiken.
I think one of the interesting things in this game as well, since it has been a fairly quiet one, the top laners, both on carries, both on picks that they can really influence the mid-game on, we might see a bit of action as we see Jack Troll and Skeens moving in as well. But Cabochard, remember, he spent the majority of his storied career on Vitality, and now they want to show him that he's no longer welcome, but he gets the sustain, gets the healing. Ignite is there, the snip, and Jack Troll finishes the job.
But this is such a risky play when the enemy team has Herald, because this gives them... doesn't kill, but does clip. But now if you look mid lane, they can just throw the Herald down. You know where the enemy team is. You know where so many members are. It gives you this free pass to throw it down. And so much damage is done to this mid-tier 1. Diplex can just watch.
And now Seiken has already been able to push in this lane. He'll be able to push it right the way to the tier 2. And suddenly you don't get to control River anymore as Vitality.B. It becomes a lot more difficult if that mid lane turret goes down. Now, still will stay standing for the moment. But you can imagine that, you know, 113 Seiken off these next wave pushes, maybe bring Antera up, take that and take over the river area.
All right, chaps, what's the game plan here for Vitality.B? Because game number 1 and 2, it felt like they had complete control early on. It felt fantastic for them. Like, is this Victor just ruining everything? How do they take control of the series again?
Well, I think ultimately it comes down to performing in the team fights. I think you have so many exceptional tools. Realistically, Ezreal does scale fine. Victor does scale exceptionally, but I think Victor's going to struggle really hard to team fight into this. It's about getting set up at objectives like the Dragon, and then you can let KCORP push in and use that lack of vision to collapse on the backline. If you find flanks, you will win the team fights.
Yeah, and even if they don't want to go for the team fights, right? Like, their side lane pressure is kind of insane. Like, Gwen going to scale really well against the Renekton. You've got Diplex who can play sides, Nocturne to kind of facilitate both that. Now, it's not exactly something that we've seen from Vitality in the long run, but it is an option there if they want to try and go towards it.
Yes, I think ultimately, if the game is going slow and you're mitigating pressure, you're in a good spot, which is why that first dragon is so important, because it just adds 5 minutes to a timer. If KCORP get every dragon, then you have more time to sort of scale up and lean to the later stages, because right now, you know, top is at a disadvantage, mid is at a disadvantage. You just need time.
And I will say, whoever gets Dragon Soul, 100% win rate in this series so far. Granted, it's not necessarily felt that impactful in a couple of those games, and game 1 certainly not great for the statistics, but ultimately, whoever's controlled the Drake has been the winner of each game in the series. So VITALITY.B off to a good start. It's just whether or not they can maintain that control.
Also, I would just quickly add, whichever team has destroyed the enemy Nexus has won 100% of the games in this series.
And have had an extra 50 gold off the back of it as well. So
yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic stuff. What a great analysis. This is why we bring you on the show, Ox.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's really cool to see that, like, on the bottom side, Jessica's still kind of maintaining the fact that he gets a lot of free time with Turret. He's the one who's getting a lot of those resources for VITALITY.B. When we look at KARMINE Corp, it has been much more about trying to play towards this top side. Now, granted, the draft does try to play to that style, but I think we're still seeing these, like, very different styles from VITALITY.B and KARMINE Corp kind of play out in this series. It's just been a case of VITALITY.B in at least game 3, haven't been able to get their footing properly into the game where Jessica can be a threat.
The second I see Pantera on Rakan moving remotely close to Jesklet, my brain screams, this is an all-in, this is an all-in, this is an all-in. I've seen too many LPL Rakans that just want to fight all the time. Pantera playing this one relatively safe, especially after the early 2v2s, right? It's not really a fight. With Ezreal early on, you're not trying to find those scraps right now.
Moving up towards the top side, VITALITY.B with Jack Troll here has Skeens just lingering in behind them, but I think they're going for the top lane.
They might well do that. Kabachard trying to start things off onto Shigenda here, gets the stun, but in comes the jungler. The needlework doing big damage on the Croc. The fear is there, and here comes Saken, but he might be too late to the play. Middle laser, Saken on the front line here, low on HP, but the bear comes down 1-1-3, 2v1. Hantera comes in as well, and KC turn it once more. Shigenda burning down. One more Glimmer Quill would do the trick. Hantera flashes for a bit of violence of his own. Diplex, though, wants to answer in a 2v1, but Hantera dashes away, dodges around, and makes the MVP play.
Hantera huge in that one, finishes off Shigenda, and honestly, I feel like when Victor TP'd in, with Renekton having died, it might be an unfortunate position, but the Rakan ensures the positive play and even out-jukes Diplex to get away.
Hantera on this Rakan has been so crucial for KARMINE Corp. We saw it in Game 3, now we're seeing it in Game 4. It's just about being able to keep KARMINE Corp within that touching distance, and you can see here, right, Shigenda hides in the bush, catches Cavalshard out, and you've already got the reinforcements moving up here with the Nocturne being able to use that ultimate to close the gap first. And at this stage, I thought, same as Ox, like this is where it starts to go a little bit messy, but 1-1-3 able to follow up really well. Shigenda gets zoned out by the gravity field, so he's not able to get into this fight as quickly as they'd like. And then Hantera just being able to get up here that little bit quicker means that they're able to turn this one back as well.
That combo between the Chaos Storm from the Victor and 1-1-3 dropping everything as well did so much damage.
And that final dodge at the end, hands Terror, am I right? With the little dash at the last second. That's going to be a Drake, though. Taken for KCOP off the back of the plays on the top side. And it has to be said, 1-1-3, easily the best game of his series so far today, right? Feels like he's got his volley bear, he's in a good matchup, and he is loving life.
And I think that's why we've kind of been looking at like the strength of these junglers, but here we go.
Saken's in trouble, the fear finally comes on through, but actually it's Skeens that just gets destroyed by the Chaos Storm. Kabachard roamed down as well, and it's 2 on the board as Kabachard gets a bit of credit for himself. And Kabachard now wanting a bit of revenge against his own August seeds.
Again, a brilliant turnaround for KARMINE Corp in the mid lane. Every time they seem to look sideways at Saken. Hantera's there, the cavalry's there, and it just feels like you're not respecting the fact that Dragon has just gone over, there's going to be multiple people in the vicinity, and they get caught out by it.
It feels so overforced. And, you know, we were saying that felt like VITALITY.B didn't need to be so desperate, but you know there's so many members of KCOP there. Kabachard has moved down, the rest are shadowing. If you don't immediately kill the Victor, you're going to lose out on the trade, and the fact that they didn't get him at all is just devastating.
Now you get the Dragon, now you get the kills, you get the Rift Herald for 1-1-3. Now KARMINE Corp can start to get that ball rolling, which is what we wanted from them, right? Get Saken to a position where he's going to be really comfortable. Well, he's well on his way there. Cavalshard as well, 1-2-2, hasn't had the best starts, but has an advantage over Shigenda, which denies a lot of Shigenda on that side lane pressure, provides a little bit of that bulky front line you need, and KARMINE Corp now, with the mid lane turret down, can start to pressure these side lanes so effectively.
And it feels to me like now that KC have got Kabachard on a pick that he can influence these early skirmishes in a big way, and 1-1-3 on an aggressive jungler that can also impact these early skirmishes, now they're feeling comfortable. Now they're in control of the early game. I'm loving this little combo of the Croc and the Bear, and it feels like KC, they finally figured out how to draft around Vitality.
Well, VITALITY.B have to figure out how to deal with these dives, because it feels like we've got another one coming in, although 1-1-3.
Valkyrie rooted, but Diplex takes a lot of damage for his trouble. Jack Troll jumps in, but I don't know if that was the best decision he's ever made. The tower goes down, and it's just more gold into the blue pockets here. Very nicely done as KARMINE continued to snowball, and this is easily the biggest lead we've seen the series at 18 minutes.
And we're starting to see, honestly, the Jack Troll not on the same page as Vitality.B. Everyone else was backing off. Jack Troll goes in, and it's now starting to cause major issues.
I will say, though, just seeing that trade there between Sigenda and Cabochard, we're starting to see some of the issues in the side lane. The fact that the Gwen, despite being a little bit down in terms of items, not too much, but still just absolutely decimating in that short trade, does make me worry. If Vitality.B can enable the side lanes and not give up too much from these pushes KARMINE are making, that is definitely an opportunity in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's Vitality.B's best way into this game. I think you've got too big for... Seiken's like getting too big at this stage. Nearly the Rabadon's deck cap completed once more. I honestly think your best way to try and play this out is, as Ox is saying, through sides, enable Skeens to approach both Sigenda and Diplex from the mid lane. And honestly, when you've got a Poke Varus, you should be able to get priority over this mid lane relatively easy. If they could get this mid lane turret down, that would just be the cherry on top for Vitality.B.
And honestly, I think this is a big issue, is the mid-tier 1 still being up and available, because it just means Seiken can position, clear out waves consistently, or you, in this situation, have Rekkless there. And it's so hard to dive, because he's never really overextended. And if you're diving under the tower, it just makes things so uncomfortable. You can't push into the enemy jungle as deep. And in an ideal world, you get those out of towers. You have, say, Sigenda pushing the bot lane, and then he can rotate up and end up behind them. But it's not possible with that tier 1 there.
And I think that's why your best bet here for Vitality.B is actually trade Dragon for, like, tower pressure. Make sure that you're able to actually get some presence on the map. You can already see it looks like Skeens is considering that, at least playing up towards this top side. They may just give this second Dragon to KARMINE Corp so they can set up the map properly to play through that style.
Herald down to the bottom side here. Seiken will be able to finish the tower off alongside that. Forces priority. Jeskler charmed up, knocked up, taken down, and Rekkless says he's still the granddaddy of AD carry. It's a pick in the mid lane. It's a tower in the bottom lane, and it's surely a guaranteed Drake.
I mean, there's just nobody here to try and defend against it, and KARMINE Corp are absolutely running away with this. Dragon will go their way when it spawns. You've got tier 2 now going their direction, and Sigenda, he's had to reset because he just doesn't have the pressure that he needs topside to make the play happen.
I mean, the gold lead is becoming such a massive issue here. Now, they are looking.
Here we go, pick onto Seiken potentially. They tried it in the mid lane and it didn't work. They're trying it bot, and it just doesn't work. KARMINE denying everything Vitality try.
And it just feels a desperation play, right? They have teleport up for both their solo laners, but no wards behind, no setup. I think if that same play happened, but there was more people to follow up, maybe it works, but that just had no attention. You saw as soon as Skeens realized, he just flashes out, but he's already dead.
It just, again, is kind of Ox saying, like, overextensions, committing to these fights. Like, there's nobody there to really follow up, but Skeens Diplex has already been zoned out by 1-1-3. It just feels like Vitality.B have now got themselves kind of choked up and not really in a position where they can fight. Like, you'll see it here, right? Diplex is on the side, and Terra is there, 1-3 is there. So when they even go for this, how do you follow up? Like, even if you don't get the TP in, it just feels like it's so hard to follow up on this engage, and now it's just giving more gold, more opportunities for KARMINE Corp to close this one.
And you even had Rekkless joining at the end, right? Jeskler's still dead at that point. There was just no hope, and I think when you see it from that perspective, you realize that they just never should have made the play in the first place, but you can feel they know the game is out of their control and it's slipping further and further away.
I feel like the entire game plan for KC over the last couple of minutes has been like, Seiken, look juicy, bait him in, and we'll turn the play around. And now, he's got a stopwatch. So you thought it was hard to kill him before. It's only getting worse.
And I gotta say, I've been so impressed with Terra on this Rakan. Both games now that we've seen it, it has been crucial to KARMINE Corp's game plan, right? Turning around every play Vitality.B has essentially tried to make those far in both the games. He's great at engage, he's great at counter-engage. Like, he has been playing an absolute stormer in these 2 games.
And it's such a difference from the first 2 games, having him on Braum.
Yeah.
Like, the agency that a Rakan has compared to a Braum is night and day. And as much as obviously there's tons of utility from the Braum, this has enabled him, and I feel like that's the thing. He's actively doing things rather than relying on his team to stack his passive.
Certainly been able to have an impact, and I feel like him and Rekkless on the Ezreal, right? They're so mobile. We saw the pick onto Jeskler in the mid lane. I mean, Jeskler was a full screen away from them when the play started, but Terra can close that gap on the Rakan, and Rekkless more than capable of closing the gap as well, following up on his supports engage. Jack Troll tries to find an engage of his own, but misses onto 113, and I don't think they would have the damage even if they found the stuns there.
I mean, 113 can hop out with Flash, he's got ult, but now you're given a ton of positioning to KARMINE Corp on this top side, especially with the wave already being pushed in by Seiken. Now you got to take the long way around as Vitality.B through this tier 2 that KARMINE Corp are pushing in. KARMINE Corp are just playing the map so much better than Vitality.B right now.
I will say, we're kind of seeing a bit of an opposite game to what we saw in game number 1 of the series. So, in about 10 minutes' time, it would be only polite for K-Corp to set the Baron up, walk away when it's on 1000 HP, give that one over to Skeens as a little generous gift, and then we'll dance around the Elder Dragon for about 12 minutes. I think that's on the menu.
And then Vitality.B give the game back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it'd be
gentleman's
rude
agreement.
not to, yeah. We all recall together, shake hands, pass over Christmas gifts. We'll have to see. I've got a feeling K-Corp aren't going to be on the same page as me on that one.
I mean, they look out for blood. This is the KARMINE Corp that I think everyone was hoping and expecting to see coming into the series. Why everyone was expecting this series to be so close. And finally, we're seeing early game jungle pressure. And Terra on a Claymaker. And Seiken popping off.
Jack Troll forced a flash, will get out with his life, but it's another summoner burnt as 113 just denying any semblance of vision. Remember, still has his flash and his ultimate. Diplex tries to get the other frost, but it's just dodged. 113, I'm not even sure he took damage in that trade. There we go, just about 100 as another all-in comes out from Vitality.B. Can they find the picks? Cabashard on the front line is invincible, just shredding the health bars. Diplex on the back line himself as Vitality.B staying stacked, protecting the carries. There's one as Santera falls, but Seiken on the backside. The health bars are too low. Jespler over the wall and Seiken trying to chase. The lasers finish him off. The burn is ticking, but Jespler survives and now Seiken's in trouble. Uses his stopwatch. Shigendo can't finish the kill though. He falls instead, and KC, after a chaotic fight, still come out on top. REKKLES wants a little bit more. Doesn't have his ulti, but it doesn't matter.
And KARMINE Corp are able to absorb the pressure from Vitality.B and turn it straight back around. Vitality.B tried to make the play with the lack of vision. The ult comes in from the Nocturne, but again, Vitality.B not in the position to follow. The TP too late from Shigenda. The Gwen isn't here, and KARMINE Corp are too tanky to take down before everyone else arrives.
And critical things like this stopwatch from Pantera buying so much time. The ult from Jespler just missed, and obviously in that choke point would be able to spread so well. And the thing is, Seiken was holding the side lane against the Gwen, which is why I feel they felt confident to go for this play without the Victor there. But as soon as he joined, the difference in the fight is just monumental.
And now it just feels like Vitality.B have given everything that they can right now, and it's been shot down. KARMINE Corp have been doing such a good job of keeping everything in check. 17 seconds now until the next dragon, and you've kind of thrown everything in the kitchen sink at KARMINE Corp, and now you've got to try and find that play again to stop this dragon stack.
I think the problem is, right, Renekton and Volibear, two champions, where if you're behind, they feel almost useless. If you're ahead, they are so hard to deal with. And if they get more Mountain Dragons and a Mountain Soul, that really makes up for how we said these champions don't necessarily scale as well, like Sion in the late game as a frontliner. On top of that, a Mountain Soul, when you want to dive backliners, having that extra shielding for Seiken and REKKLES makes such a massive difference, and they are now one dragon away.
It's not even just the fact you get the shields, right? Seiken now with the Zhonya's is going to buy all the time he really needs because you've got the CC from the front line, from Terra to keep him in check. If you get onto REKKLES, that still may not be enough because he's got the Arcane Shift. And honestly, it's been uncoordinated from Vitality.B. They haven't actually been able to have Diplex in a position to follow up with Skeens, to have support for this Nocturne, and KARMINE Corp have been doing a great job of pushing back against that.
They're just going to muscle in the mid lane here, and that'll be one inhib tower taken. Cabashard pushing in the bottom side at the same time. Remember, they still have that Baron in their pockets. And that's just going to be the mid lane inhib cranked open. No defense whatsoever from Vitality. They cannot contest. They're almost 10,000 gold down. And with this extra tower or two, that might become a reality. That'll be two inhibs taken. And at this point, you gotta believe that KC, after everything in this series, might just push us to 5. They might just keep us going because Jack Troll is down and Cabashard ain't stopping yet.
It's the LPL special. We've had those reverse sweeps, and KARMINE Corp are looking to see if they can do it as well. Do you hear the noise, boys? Because I certainly do.
I hear the blue wall coming down on top of Vitality.B like a ton of bricks. The damage is there. Cabashard in the back line as Diplex tries to peel, tries to escape, but he doesn't have anything in the tank. K-Corp, your back-to-back Amazon EU Masters champions, will push us to 5 games. They'll keep themselves in this series, and they will keep their hopes alive.
What a comeback from this team. I mean, game 1 was very messy, but after game 2, VITALITY.B just looked so much better, and they've been able to